All right, now, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We are live once again. Listen, we are on day 6, so welcome back. January 6th, we are showing up for ourselves. This is a 30-day going live challenge in order to help you to become a better dater. So welcome back to this live today. I am Marshawn Olanio. I'm a shift relationship strategist, and I specifically help Black women over 40 to show up differently in all of their relationships using tailored strategies so they can cultivate thriving relationships. And the reason why I say relationships, no, I'm not talking about all that you're having multiple romantic relationships, but what I am referring to is you have a relationship with yourself, you have a relationship with a partner, significant other, husband, etc. Have a relationship with your children, relationship with your parents, your relationship with your siblings, relationship. You have relationships with everybody, including but not limited to your boss as well as your coworkers. And so that's why I say relationships. Now, what we're talking about right now is specifically two important relationships. To become a better dater, you have to have a really good relationship with yourself in order for that to translate into a really good relationship with attracting the person who wants to date you and or choose you for a long-term partner, engagements, and then into marriage at some point, if that is one of your goals. So we've talked about several different topics already. Again, this is day 6 of going live for 30 days. And today's topic, we are talking about how to love the reflection you see in the mirror. Yes, that's you. How to love yourself. I like to start here because when I'm coaching some of my clients, what I found is that I would coach them and talk about their romantic relationship, but then I would find out that their relationship with themselves was not solid. So instead of me jumping forward about how to make a romantic relationship better, I like to back up and talk about the relationship that you have with yourself. And so if you don't have a great relationship with yourself, becoming a better dater is not really going to help you. You have to cultivate self love and then think about how that's going to transpire into other types of relationships, i.e., a relationship with a significant other. So, with that being said, let's talk about how to love the reflection that you see in the mirror. To truly love what you see in the mirror, you are often asked to move past not only your own self-doubt, but also those external voices that may have questioned your value. This means unlearning years of messaging that told you what beauty, success, or enoughness should look like, and reprogramming yourself to understand that these standards don't define you. This process involves peeling back the layers of criticism, self doubt, and self judgment that may have shaped your inner dialogue. Unlearning limiting beliefs is the key, as all Black women are strong. At times, a lot of times we're stronger more times than not, or that you think that you have to shrink your voice to fit in, or so other things such as fitting in to the beauty standards, professionalism, or even how to express your emotions. Embracing oneself means redefining these narratives. So, when we're talking about loving ourselves, I actually have some statistics here that I want to read. Before you start dating, if you don't love yourself, what you do find is that you'll end up in dating burnout. And now, according to the Pew Research Center, it shows that 65% of online daters reported feeling frustrated with the process because they were just going from one dating situation to the next dating situation to the next dating situation and not giving themselves time to just chill. Without self love, dating can feel exhausting as external validation becomes the main focus rather than genuine connection. You want to have a great connection with yourself so you can have genuine connection with a a potential mate. So that's one of the things that I wanted to point out here. We're going to talk about 7. Is it 7? Yes. The 7 things that you need to reflect on in order to see the beauty in yourself, in order to start loving the reflection that you see in the mirror. One of the first things that I want to talk about is challenging yourself to step out of your comfort zone. This is important because if you want to attract and be seen as a person that somebody wants to have in their life long term, then life literally is all about change. The only consistent thing in our lives is change. So we have to take on small challenges that push our boundaries, like speaking up at a meeting, or trying a new hobby, or simply giving a compliment to the opposite sex. I know some people are so scared to initiate the conversation with the opposite sex when you shouldn't be. You know how to speak. Talk about the things, or just give them a compliment, like literally lean into initiating the conversation first. It does not mean that that conversation, or because you complimented that person, that the conversation is going to go any further than that. It doesn't mean that. But what it does give you is practice. It gives you practice to be able to articulate what you need to say to a potential partner later on. Each step outside of your comfort zone shows you how capable and resilient you actually are. Now, I remember working with a client, and this is before now she's in a relationship, but before she was in this relationship, one of the things that I was coaching her through was literally being able to look the opposite sex in the eye. I know that may sound a little strange to some of you out there, but some people are just shy, or just don't know what to say, or they feel uncomfortable. They have some insecurities that are popping up, whatever the case may be. But that was one of the things that we worked on. And lo and behold, once she got more comfortable with just giving random men, not necessarily men, actually, that's not true. In the challenge, I was going to say not necessarily men that she's attracted to, but that's not true. I challenged her to give compliments to men that she found attractive. Just again, to put herself out there. Small steps, small achievements, compliments. It didn't have to be anything grandiose. It was just something that she had to be genuine when she complimented him in the thing that she was giving him a compliment on. She had to be genuine. So she had to pay attention. Maybe it was his voice. Some people, men in particular, have really deep, beautiful, sultry voices. So maybe it was his voice, right? It could have been his outfit, could have been his smell, could have been his haircut, whatever the thing. But she had to genuinely give compliments to the opposite sex, because this was giving her practice in order to be able to put herself out there. And again, when her guy did eventually come, she was able to look him in the eye, because she was already practicing looking men in the eye. Now, there was other areas that we worked on, but in particular to this, challenging yourself to get out of your comfort zone. That was like the one of the most uncomfortable things that she told me, that when we were working together, that she did. Getting out of her comfort zone in order to see if she could just give a compliment. Again, it wasn't necessarily about seeing if it was going to go anywhere. It was literally her getting out of her own way. And I was actually talking to a relationship coach today, and we were talking about some of the things that we're going to work on together. But that's beside the point. The point that I'm bringing up is how we were talking about how a lot of people, and I told you I work with Black women, right? Black women over 40. So I'm specifically talking about Black women that I work with, and she talking about the Black women and Black men that she works with, and how they don't realize that they have love blocks, and how when we're working with them, we're trying to get these love blocks out of the way so they can be ready to step into and own and even give and receive love to their significant other, as well as become aware of these love blocks. Because a lot of times they're not even aware that these things exist, that the blocks are there. And so when we're working with our clients, we're just letting them know, hey, there are some blocks here, and we have to work through what is holding you back, what is keeping you stuck, why do you keep attracting the same person over and over again, or why you keep repeating the same habits and behaviors each time. And that's why, or at least one of the reasons why, your relationship is not going to the next level. So learning to love the reflection that you see in the mirror is of the utmost importance. One of the other things that I highly encourage my clients to do when they're trying to figure out self-love and how to really own who they are and really accept who's in the mirror is to embrace solitude. Embrace solitude. And I have a statistic about that as well that I want to read here. Where is it at? Where is it at? What is it at? Here it is. Loneliness versus solitude. So, a study in the psychological science revealed that people who embrace being alone and develop self love are less likely to feel lonely and more likely to attract emotionally stable partners. Let me say that part again. People who embrace being alone and develop their self love or love for oneself are less likely to feel lonely, whether they're in a relationship or not, but specifically when they're not in a relationship. And they're more likely to attract emotionally stable partners. That is exactly what we're looking for. So, learning to enjoy solitude builds emotional independence. You don't want to be dependent when you get into the relationship. Specifically, you can't function unless that emotional connection is there, unless they're feeding into emotionally. There has to be some type of connection. You don't want to be dependent, because when they have a bad day, your world is going to shatter. When they have a bad day, you're going to have a bad day. If they have a bad week and can't feed into you, you will have a bad week because they weren't able to feed into you. So you have to be emotionally stable. And one of the ways to do this is to connect with your inner self, away from outside expectations. Solitude helps you appreciate your own company, depending on the bond that you have with yourself. This is one of the things that I literally had to do in order to love the reflection that I see in the mirror. I come from a large family, and we were always around one another, and not just my siblings. I come from a large family, siblings. It was 7 of us, and but also my aunts. All of them had a lot of children, so 4 plus. 7 was the cap, but it was 7 of them, and then a lot of them had 7 kids. 4, 5, 7 kids was the range. So I come from a large family. With that being said, I was always around people, so I didn't necessarily know who Marshawn was. Then at 18, I joined the United States Navy, and I was around a whole bunch of people because I was actually stationed on an oiler. For those of you who knows what that is, if you don't know what it is, it's a big old ship. Okay, I was always around people, and then I met and married my husband at the age of 21. We was always around each other. We was always together. We was always doing things. And then we would visit each other's family. So I never really was alone. I never really got a chance to understand who I was. And then at the age of 27, we divorced. And I'm going to speed up the story, because what I found is that I didn't like being alone because I was so used to always being around people. I didn't like being alone. So when I moved into my 1-bedroom apartment by myself as a divorcee, I always found a way not to sit still, specifically in my own space. It was nice, it was furnished, I liked it, but I didn't like to be there because I was by myself. And don't let the noises in the house start happening. Okay, problem. Don't let the noises in the house start happening. But I really just had to understand that I'm never going to be able to get to the next level to really appreciate myself, the reflection that I see in the mirror, if I don't get to know me, if I don't get to know the things that I like, if I can't sit in my own company by myself, quiet or loud, whatever, talking to myself, walking around, whatever. The point is, if I don't like my own company, if I can't be with me, why would I think somebody else wants to be in my company with me, building a life with me? It doesn't work like that. You have to embrace the reflection that you see in the mirror. It literally is a must. Control what you can control. Change things that you can control if you must. It's okay to do that. But you also have to really Love on yourself. And when I'm talking to my clients and we're working together, one of the things that I have them do, that I challenge them to do, right, i.e., homework, and then come back and report, is to stand in front of the mirror. Literally, we're talking about the reflection. Stand in front of the mirror. My suggestion is to be in their birthday suit, but it doesn't have to be. Stand in front of the mirror and speak life and love into all of the parts of your body that you do not like, that you do not see as favorable or as an asset. You dog it out, or, try to hide it, mask it, whatever. You have to be willing to fall in love with all parts of your body, all parts of yourself. But getting back to solitude, you have to be willing to sit in solitude in order to in order to hear the very things that you're running away from. What do I mean by that? Most of the time, people don't like to be alone because of the things that come up here, the thoughts that jump out. And anytime you're distracted, you think about the things that you want to think about. When it's quiet and settled, this is when the stuff that you really need to be figuring it out, focusing on, working on, comes to the surface. This is why, and I don't want to be morbid, but I'm still going to say it. This is when it's quiet and when people are in solitude and they take in that inner critical voice and they allow it to run their life. This is when a lot of people commit suicide. You can look it up. It's a known fact. They're alone. They're in their quiet. All of this stuff has now come to the surface. Nobody's there to talk them off the ledge, literally and figuratively. And then they take their own life. And a lot of that, not everybody, but a lot of that had to do with the fact that they didn't like themselves enough to be alone with themselves. I'm not talking about the people that have mental health challenges per se, but that's when a lot of suicides take place. The person is all alone. And when they're calling for help, nobody is answering the phone. And then all of a sudden, the next day or whenever, the friend who is still alive gets the news. And then they realize, dang, they tried to call me right before this happened. This is another reason why you need to love the reflection that you see in the mirror. It helps you to decrease your stress levels and get rid of those suicidal thoughts. Moving on. The third technique to love the reflection that you see in the mirror is to continue to speak kindly to yourself. And I would venture to say throughout the day. If you struggle with this now, you need to start speaking life and love into yourself on a daily basis, making it your daily mantra, your affirmations to speak kindly to yourself. I talked about affirming yourself the other day. All of these play a part in self love. Loving the reflection that you see in the mirror. How often are you speaking life and love into you? Whenever you notice self criticism, consciously replace it with kind, encouraging words. Treat yourself, sis. Treat yourself like you would a close friend. This ongoing kindness strengthens your self esteem over time. Why over time? Because you didn't start thinking negatively about yourself overnight. And so, in order to literally rewire your brain to make it more on the positive side versus the automatic negative thoughts and criticism that come up, you have to start speaking these things to you. And at some point, you start to believe them. Nobody can tell you the day, the minute, the hour that now that switch has been switched, but it does happen. It does occur just by you speaking life and love into yourself on a daily basis. Affirming who you are, affirming how you look, affirming that you did. achieve that thing, celebrate yourself. We don't do that enough. Speak kinder to yourself about yourself, specifically when nobody else is around, because that's a lot of times when we are dogging ourselves out. It's not when our friends and family are with us, around us. It's usually when nobody is around and you don't think nobody can hear you, and now you calling yourself stupid, ugly, fat, too black, too skinny, too short, too tall, whatever. You're going down the rabbit hole of negativity in your eyes, because what you deem as a flaw, somebody else can see that in you slash on you and be like, that is amazing. That is amazing. I wish I had the very thing that you're complaining about. Somebody can always come in and really appreciate the things that you have. You have to start doing them, because guess what? You already have them. They are yours. In 2025, we are no longer speaking negatively about ourselves, whether people are around or not. That's not what we're doing anymore. We're leaning in to who we are. So when we show up in the world, they see the light. They see the energy. They can feel the environment is pleasant when we are around. That means you, sis. When you're around, they want to see a pleasant environment. They want to feel, right? Think about the people that you really like being in their company. They give you a really good feeling. I mean, unless you're super negative, but usually we like to hang around the people that make us feel super good. And are you able to be in other people's company and they feel that way about you? Or are you the negative Nancy, the person that automatically has the cynicism, automatically pessimistic, automatically going toward the negative? Where you at? Have you asked yourself where you're at? The fourth technique in order for you to love the reflection that you see in the mirror is to create a morning routine that prioritizes you. Start your day with practices that ground you, whether it's meditating, it could be reading, it could be exercising, could be stretching, could be walking, it could just be enjoying the early morning silence and doing nothing. Maybe you're a coffee drinker or a tea lady, whatever the case may be, just sitting with yourself and or taking care of you. As I say, control what you can control. This you can control, even if that means getting up early. And what early is, maybe for one person, may be different for another person, but you must create a routine. I'm saying morning routine, but maybe you work nights. Maybe yours is a soon as you get off, right? I mean, it's usually morning still. The point is, it doesn't matter when you have the routine in your day. It matters that you have the routine at all, to take care of you, to pour back into you, to get yourself re-centered, to recharge you. So when the people in the world come towards you, you're able to handle these things, because the people in the world are going to try to pull you into the thing that they need done, which is okay. It happens. However, you have to take care of you before you can take care of anybody else. I'm sure you've heard about the airplane, put on your mask before you put on somebody else's. That's taking care of you, and then you can take care of somebody else. It is a must. You can't just keep taking care of everybody and pouring from a literally super dried up cup and then thinking that you're still going to be awesome and amazing and not have an attitude with your loved ones. Take care of yourself first. Create a morning routine in order to love the reflection that you see in the mirror. The fifth technique to love the reflection in the mirror is to forgive yourself for past mistakes. Forgive yourself. Release yourself from the guilt or shame over your past actions. Forgiving yourself is a powerful step toward healing and loving yourself fully. It allows you to view yourself with compassion and understanding. This is a must to do. You have to forgive yourself for your past mistakes because most of us didn't have a blueprint. Most of us did not have a blueprint for how we're going to show up in this life. This is one of the things to help you to love the reflection in the mirror is to forgive yourself, is to take away all of the guilt, the shame, the pain, all that stuff that you've been feeling, that's been weighing you down, that's been making you a non-attractive mate because you have yet to say, I did, and literally own, take some accountability for your decisions, for your actions, and even the consequences that had to happen. Maybe the relationship didn't work out because of you. It's okay. You can own that because you are your problem, but guess what? You are also your solution. You are your problem, but you're also your solution. When you were the problem, maybe you didn't have the tools or anything to help you to get to the next level. Now you're like, okay, I heard that I was a problem in this particular area. Listen, I'm cutthroat. I cut people down to the white meat. That's not okay to do. But now you are aware of the area that you are weak in. And now you can start working on said weak area. This is how we are leveling up and getting to the next level. This is how you are becoming a better dater. By understanding and becoming aware of your weak areas and doing something about them, taking the actions to change this around. But also knowing because your default was over here. So like I said, maybe you was cutting people to the white meat with your verbs or with your words. You are going to do that at times. The growth shows when you are able to catch yourself like, dang, whether it's in the moment or even afterward. Because the more that you practice, the more that you put these things into practice, the better you are, the more attractive you become. Just by you being aware of what you're doing and how you are showing up. This is how we love the reflection in the mirror. Owning up to your past mistakes. I was talking to a previous client the other day, and she was telling me how she ended the relationship with her partner because he would not take accountability for the things that he was not per se doing right. He said that he would do one thing, and then when it was time to do the action, to own up, to actually deliver, he wouldn't deliver. But then it was everybody else's fault as to why he didn't deliver the promise that he made to his now ex-girlfriend. We have to own up to our stuff. That's an area of weakness. Nobody wants to be in a relationship with somebody that can't say, I'm sorry, and or own the things that they're doing wrong. This is where the maturity level goes up. This is how you look more attractive by literally just being able to apologize. You would never guess how many people come to me and say that their partner has a problem with apologizing and or taking accountability. That's not attractive. And after a while, the partner is going to say, no, this is not for me. The timing is different for everybody when they come to that revelation that this is not for me. The person that I'm talking about, she stayed in a relationship for several years. I think they were together 4 or 5 years. And then they were talking marriage, and she was just like, I cannot go to the next level. I'm still dealing with this in the dating. And now I'm talking about saying I do. She had to let it go. But we have to be willing to own our own mistakes in order to love the reflection in the mirror. Just think about when you lie or have done something. There is so much guilt on you later on or the next day. There's so much guilt. So just be willing to own your stuff. None of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. And as I mentioned before, there usually is no blueprint on how to be in relationships. We're starting to get them now. You're seeing more and more dating coaches and people out here that are living life and sharing their experiences. So we're getting it, but in our 40s, in our 50s, in our 60s. So later on in our life. And so now it's time for us to get the information so we can allow our seeds, children, grandchildren, great grands, to actually do better because we're now doing better. They won't have to experience a lot of the heartache and pain that we went through because now we're showing up differently and we're passing down new generational things instead of curses. We're passing down generational blessings instead of generational curses now. So wrapping that up to say, you must forgive yourself for all of the past mistakes that you made in order for you to become a better dater and to love the reflection that you're seeing in the mirror. Number six, you have to embrace your natural beauty. Spend time appreciating yourself without makeups and filters, especially in our world where there's filters everywhere on every social media where you can make yourself look a certain way or enhance this, enhance that, enhance this, make your cheekbones, and all that stuff is fine and dandy. But it's not if that's the only way that you want to look at yourself. If you must have on makeup in order to walk out the door, there you may have a problem. Let's be real. You may have a problem if you can't just walk outside to the mailbox or go to the store without having to have a full beat face. Admire your natural features, your skin, your hair as they are. This practice can be empowering and grounding, helping you to embrace your authentic beauty. This is one of the things, and I talked about several of these things I've been through myself, which is why I can speak on them. And I've helped others overcome them as well. But specifically to this one, loving your natural beauty, it took me a long time to love this chocolate skin that you see. A long time for me to accept and appreciate the melanin that God gave me. It took me a long time. And that was a part of my insecurity when I was dating. Anytime I was dating and the relationship didn't go anywhere, I immediately went back to I must be too dark. And that's actually asinine. You know why? Because he had to see my dark skin when he decided to ask for my number, when he decided to take me out on a date, when he decided to pick me up. He had to see my skin. So for me to automatically let my insecurity come up that I'm just too dark, it's silly. It's a bit stupid, but that's where I was at. And so I had to stand literally in front of the mirror and speak life and love to myself, about myself, and speak specifically my chocolate skin. It took me a long time to get there. If that's not your issue, think about an area that you don't like about yourself. I have friends, clients, and cousins, siblings, whatever, that they have not embraced our crown, her crown, I should say. Haven't embraced her crown. So always has on the lace front. The lace front, don't get me wrong, she can lay the lace front, can lay it. However, she has, I'm not going to say never, but I'll say very rarely has she rocked her natural crown. Very rarely. And I'm saying she because it's one person in particular that I'm thinking about. Now that she's in a relationship with a different guy, I remember seeing her post on social media saying that this was the very first relationship that she's ever been in where she felt like she could be just herself, where she could take off her lashes, where she could take off her makeup, she could take off her lace front and just be her. And how often can you do that with the people in your circle? If you can't do that with your significant other, you're probably with the wrong significant other. And let's be real. The other thing I want to point out is that could just be a you thing. Thinking that you always have to be full face or beat or lashes or nails or whatever. always feeling like you have to be on all the time. That literally could just be a you thing. Test it out is what I would say. Take off whatever it is, whatever mask that you're holding on to. It could be the wig, could be the beat face, could be the whatever mask you're holding on to. I would ask you to test that out. Take it off in front of your significant other if and when this is your issue, if and when you get into that relationship, so you can see how they really feel about the real you. Because if you are speaking life and love into yourself, if you are out there rocking and feeling good in the skin that you're in and the outfit that you're in and the hair that you have, somebody is going to tell you how fly you are and how beautiful you look. And even if they don't, you can tell you that about you. People can see when, literally, they can see when you have high self-esteem. You walk differently, you talk differently, you stand differently, you articulate differently, you look people in the eye, you can have a conversation. You don't just like shake their hand and it's all soft and sometimes wet hands. It's none of that. It's a firm handshake. You're looking them in the eye, you're able to have the conversation and own who you are. And if he's not coming to the table with the things that you want, the values, the treatment, the same idea of what relationship and the path that you would like your life to go on, if he's not coming to the table with any of that, you are okay with walking away and not settling for just anything that he's bringing to the table or any treatment that he wants to give to you just because. So it literally is mainly, it's up here for all of us. I never have a problem rocking my natural hair. I actually really like it. I got a whole bunch of gray hair under here, whole bunch. And it's funny because you see when it's down, you can kind of see I got pretty much the brown, dark hair, whatever. But when I pull it back, this whole area is nothing but gray. So I literally got a halo of gray. And now that I'm getting older, it's funny to watch men, especially younger men, when they see me from behind, and don't worry about how I know that. When they see me from behind, I can see them like looking when they pass and all that stuff, right? And then they might have seen me from behind and then they come to the front. And a lot of times I hear hair pulled back. So then they can see all of my gray. And I just think it's funny because I can totally see the face change when they see my gray. Now, maybe that's my insecurity showing up. I don't think it is because I actually like my gray. I don't have a problem. I will pull this hair back in a minute. I also got a huge forehead that I literally had to, another thing that I had to embrace later on in life. And so I really just had to figure out how I'm going to love the things that God gave me. I'm not big on going under the knife to do all these things. So I literally had to love the reflection that I see in the mirror. And so my question is, when are you going to love, or when was the last time that you decided to love on the reflection that you see in the mirror? It's not hard to do. It's literally not hard to do. You just got to start doing it. You got to start doing it. Embrace your natural beauty. This is my notes that you're seeing. I don't want to forget. The 7th technique to love the reflection in the mirror is to invest in yourself. The investment could be a plethora of things. So whether it's learning a new skill, taking a course, or dedicating time to a passion, investing in yourself will remind you that you are worth the time, the energy, and the effort. You deserve somebody that is going to show up for you. But the secret is you have to be willing to show up for you first. You cannot expect somebody to show up for you if you're not showing up for you. You cannot expect somebody to love you deeply, unconditionally, if you don't love yourself deeply and unconditionally. If this is something that you're struggling with, I highly encourage you to do the things that I mentioned here. Investing in yourself, forgiving yourself for your past mistakes, embracing your natural beauty, taking the time to sit in solitude, be alone, so you can figure out if you actually like the person that you are. Do you like you? If you don't like you, then why would somebody else like you? If you don't love you, right? Fill in the blank. If you don't like spending time with yourself all by yourself without any distractions, and I'll say this again, a lot of people don't like to sit in silence or in solitude because of the things that come up here. When you're quiet, the things that you really need to start taking inventory on and or handling, working through, getting help for, all of the things is the things that's coming up here when it's quiet. I encourage you tonight, when it's quiet, to sit in solitude and really allow the things that come up, journal them out, and then write the feelings about the things that came up. So I talked about earlier my skin. I literally had to figure out, why was it an issue for me not to like my skin? And what I found is that it was because I owned what other people were telling me about my skin. When I was a child, elementary school, I didn't know I was dark. Didn't pay attention to it. I didn't pay attention to my dark skin until somebody else pointed it out to me. And I bet some of your insecurities were never insecurities unless somebody pointed them out to you. I was having a conversation with me and my brother about insecurities, and I was talking about my dark skin, and we had just had a conversation because it was just some things that we need to air out. But anyway, it was the thing that we was teasing him about, and I'm saying we because of siblings. The thing that we was teasing him about, he actually was like, that wasn't anything that I was really upset about. He was like, now, if y'all would have said this thing, this was the thing that I had to work on. This was my insecurity. And so I highly encourage you to become aware of your insecurities and journal about the feelings that are coming up. Why are you feeling this way? Once I recognized that it wasn't my initial voice, it was that critical inner voice because it was somebody else's stuff that they were putting on me about me. Now, and well, I should say then, I was able to rewrite my own narrative. I had to embrace me. I had to love on my dark skin, literally. And it's funny because I don't know this to be true about everybody, but a lot of times when people, men and women alike, when they kind of just touch my skin, not sexual or anything, just kind of touch my skin, they always talk about how soft it is. And my question is always, is kind of like a reaction, like an first reaction, which is, no, everybody's skin is not soft. And they're like, no. And this is men and women that are saying this. So I'm like, okay. So then I start taking in, I'm saying that because then I start taking in the positive that people were saying about me and specifically about my skin and, oh, it looks flawless. And I'm like, I get pimples too, but whatever. Okay. So it's flawless and this and that, like what all of the beautiful things that they started saying about me, I started to counter all of the negativity that I was hearing, that I was owning as if it was my story about me. It wasn't my story about me. It was somebody else's story. And again, that's probably your same thing as to why you don't love the reflection in the mirror, or there are some parts about the reflection in the mirror that you don't like about yourself. So practice nurturing yourself and do it on a regular basis. If you could figure out what your morning routine is, and as I said before, I'm saying morning, but it doesn't have to be in the morning because maybe you're not a morning person, but you do need to have a routine for you to feed and nurture yourself as a way to recharge yourself, as a way to feel beautiful inside and out, and not just having the fly clothes, the car, the house, all of the list of things that you may now have. It's not the external stuff at this point in your life, it's the internal. How beautiful are you on the inside? And the areas of weakness, you don't have to share them with nobody, but you do got to do something about them. And only you can do something about them. Because as I mentioned, you are your problem, but you're also your solution. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm Marshawn Alanio. I am a shift relationship strategist, and I help Black women over 40 to shift their relationships by using tailored strategies so they can cultivate healthy, thriving relationships. I love you guys, and I will see you back here tomorrow for day number 7 in the live stream. All right, y'all. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.